That's a good start to Monday morning. First job on a wet Monday is put the tyre up on the Merlot with the air compressor on the fast track. We can't move it or it'll come off the rim. Got the airline plug into the air brake fitted on the back of the fast track. Load the tyre up now, I'm in the shed, out the rain. Just with the boiler now, there's a linear actuator in that black tube there, and it's jammed up. Anyway, I've done it manually and it's working now. That moves the step brake, so the step brake is like a push penny machine. If I prop you up there, you've got loads of bits of metal that push, and then pull, push and pull, and it works the ash out the boiler to the front where the ash augers run. Anyway, it's jammed up for some reason, but it's working now. Got the drive shaft here now. We're going to try and see it if we can get it in without having to split the ball joints, but we might have to take the track rod end off. I'm just jacking it up now. Hear the wood creaking. Must be heavy, that. It's like indented in the block. Pull the iron out. Get the wheel back on. I'm going to put some soap on this hub so when I slide the wheel on it'll slip over, because it's a pain getting it off. That's all lubed up with soap now, just try and get that on. Putting some soap on the back of the wheel nuts so that they don't chew the paint off when we tighten them up. When they go on. How good that looks. It's shiny and red. And the paint's not flaked off either. Today's quiz question is, does Andrew look like Shaggy or Scooby-Doo? Excited.
Oh, Shaggy.
I think we can just get the shaft in past them pipes if we pull it in a little bit without taking the track rod off. So I'm just going to make a puller out of this socket and draw it in, because we've got thread in the end of there to pull off. So put that on there, put some washers on it and draw it in. Yeah, go on, slide that on now, and then that bolt through there into the shaft, and we'll just tighten that nut then, and it'll pull the shaft through the hub. Just got to pull it into that collar there, onto that seal. You turn that nut there, and that's pulling the shaft into the seal. If you look, going slowly every time he turns the spanner. You can use a slide hammer, but we couldn't find it. Yeah, it's perfect, that. It's nearly home as well. Might bottom out on the socket though. Right. Run out of depth in the socket, so we just put two nuts there now.
It might be home now. It is.
Yeah, I think that's it. Now is that going to fit? I reckon the Germans engineered that so you could change the shaft without splitting the suspension, because it does just slide in. I'm pushing that out of there now, but because it's such a tight fit and it's got grease, the suction keeps pulling it back in. So we pull it out to get the bolts in, and then it goes, it sucks itself back in. It's a bit of a pain, so we're going to have to put some longer bolts in, pull it too, and then change them for the shorter ones. Figured it out, just put your nail in there and you can hear it hiss. You can't now because it's come out, but it did that and the air hissed in then, and then now it fits.
You got one in?
Yeah. This actuator's completely stopped working now, so I think there's a fuse in here, so I'm going to check it. Doesn't look gone, but I'll check it with the multimeter.
Get this old circuit in there.
Play it now. Tell you what, let's get on the end of this pliers. Pliers have got some bend on it, see the clutch. Look at the pliers, it's bent too much, I'll let go. That's gone easy. I think I'll put another shim in.
punch it in.
I'm just going to put another shim in.
The fuse isn't gone, so we're going to try testing the wires coming out, see if there's any power going to it, and see if the motor's on or not.
Just picking up my dad's new car with him. Well, it's new to him. At Pine Lodge Cars in Whitchurch. It's quite smart. If you like the Facebook and Instagram, them little things flick around. Just took my dad to pick his car up from Whitchurch. Bumped into someone in the garage as well and watching the videos. That was nice. But the guy in the garage was telling me that second-hand cars, they just can't get hold of them at the moment. And every morning at 8 o'clock, he opens Auto Trader at 9 o'clock and he starts to ring up people that are selling private cars so that they've got them for stock to sell on. And he just can't get them. He bid at 100 cars in the auction today and didn't get any of them. And he said that last week there was 43,000 private cars for sale on Auto Trader, and this week there's only 21,000. So that just shows you how tight the supply is of second-hand vehicles. So now's not the time to look for a second-hand car because you're going to pay over the odds. Just come back from dropping my dad off, pick his new car up, and the kettle's still warm, so the lads have obviously been busy when I've not been here. Back from dropping my dad off now, both wheels are on. We just need to put gear oil in it, so we're going to put the gear oil in the tunnel for the boiler overnight so it gets warm, and then that way then it'll be nice and runny to go in. Sam's masked the rest of the cab off for the cab frame. He's just obviously got to do the top of the cab now, and then he can spray that. Now both wheels are back on. We took the axle stands off. We can now take the back wheels off. It's a bit more stable then. Use the axle stands we had on the front and then on the back, and then we can then paint inside these arches. Might do something with this black as well because that black there is rusted. Still waiting for Martin or Gary to try to find me wheel weights because there should be a set of wheel weights in the dealership's yard from when I traded one in a few years ago and we left them there by mistake. So we can get them painted as well and get them on. The front wheels look great. I've just tripped over a block of wood. The front wheels look great because they're dead shiny, especially now they're lacquered. The bonnet looks good. It's going to look amazing. I thought we might have had the black on tonight, but it's just took that long masking things off. It's not, but it's definitely getting there. In other news, the exhaust arrived for the 1455, so we just need the throttle cable now, not the throttle cable, the rev counter cable. So Adam thought he had one up the road, just brought it round then. Anyway, it's the wrong kind, it's off of David Brown. So I'm going to stick this on now, see what it sounds like. Should be a lot quieter and a lot less smoky because the other one had a hole about here. So we're going to put it on and see what it's like. It's got a little bit dark in this shed because it is normally only used for parking the tractors or grain. But look at this. So the bonnet, I'll go around the other side actually, you'll see better. When you shut the bonnet on this, there was this gap. Anyway, people have said that there's a rubber seal. Well, it has got a rubber seal on. It's not very thick. But if you look, these hooks look like they've worn quite a lot. More so the other side. I think they should go about flat there. And that means that this then sits up a little bit higher. And then where this sits on these pegs, they're a little bit worn. So I think if I take the play out of it, I think it'll sit a lot neater. Or I could probably put like a draft excluder strip along here. And then that'll make it look a little bit neater. Anyway, I'm going to put the exhaust on now and see what it sounds like. Yeah, if you look, see the slack in the bonnet. If them hooks were tighter, it'd sit a lot neater. Mind you, there's still a gap there though, isn't there? Must be these panels dropped as well. If you imagine though, they're only sat on metal pegs and it's done 10,000 hours of rattling, it is going to whir a little bit. Right, the exhaust sits on a peg. Right, oh no, it's there. There we go. I thought it was the wrong way around. I thought the peg was at the front and it made the exhaust wider this way round. But anyway, just me being silly. That's it now. New exhaust on, we'll see what it sounds like. Just jump down. Has a handy step on the battery box. There you go. Good news is the exhaust fits. Bad news is it's really quiet in the cab now. And you don't hear the whistle when you back off. I'll have to get one of the lads to rev it up tomorrow so you can hear it from the outside. But loads of people said you should have put a straight through pipe on. Well, when you pick that exhaust up and look straight, you can't actually see straight through it. The baffle, there's no like baffles in it, it's just got like a chamber on the outside to quieten it down, which obviously does because the cab's really quiet now. Whereas the other one must have just been completely knackered and that's why it was bad and whistled. But the tractor looks a lot tidy now, having a nice new black shiny exhaust on with the rusty one on. I could always measure it though and get a piece of stainless steel tube the same diameter for like special occasions. I don't know if you've seen someone from tractor pulling now on YouTube, but they look mint with it. Stainless steel exhaust and loads of black smoke coming out of them. Don't know whether you noticed, but you can hear the fans running in the top of the shed. That's because it's gone cold tonight and the temperature is now 5 degrees less than the oilseed rape in the shed behind me. So the fans have automatically come on to cool the oilseed rape down. So we're finally, you can see my breath, we're finally getting cold nights, so that's good because if we get some frost, it'll stop the aphids that might eat the barley or give it disease, or the wheat for that matter. I haven't put any insecticide on any of me cereals for a few years now, and you used to be able to put a dressing on the seed. We lost that last year, and then last year was quite wet and cold. This year is quite mild, and it's been warm. Sorry, warm is mild, and I've not put any insecticide on again. So there's this risk of getting BYDV, which is barley yellow dwarf virus. So that can infect the plant, and then it means that it dies in big circles in the spring, and you don't get any yield off it. Now, I've saved that much money by not using insecticide for a long time that if I did get it, I'd still be better off than if I used insecticide every year. But the plan is to get that we don't need to use insecticide ever, and that way then the beneficials, so like the spiders, when we saw them spiders' webs and stuff like that, they'll be eating them aphids and hopefully they won't get infected. But we won't know till the spring. But it's a bit of a risk, but it is quite cheap insecticide, so a lot of people just stick it on anyway, but that obviously will kill other things in the field at the same time. Bit of after hours 49.55 prep. You're going to be ready for the track to run? Yeah. Sorting out the bonnet where it was all chipped because of filling up with diesel. It's going to respray it. That's about it for today now. A lot of birthdays again behind me. Heather, Gavin, Neil, Michael, Zach. Get well soon, Lily Mae. She's in hospital. She's very young as well, which is a bit of a shame. And also John Smart's birthday. So happy birthday to you too. Also get well soon, Christine, because we're missing you in the office. The FENDT is now taking shape. It looks great with the wheels on. The 1455 looks great with the exhaust on. We've picked my dad's car up as well, so he can now drive around and not realise his engine's running because it's a hybrid as well. So that's quite funny because he didn't know why the lights wouldn't turn off before, but it's because he'd left the engine running. Anyway, thanks everyone that's watching. If you're a new subscriber, tell us where you're watching from. Also, how are you today? I'm 95 today. It's been wet, not 100 because it's been wet. How are you? Let's see if we can keep this thing going, because a load of people have messaged me outside of the chat on here and also on Twitter saying that they're going to try and get their works to take it on as well. So that's great. So I'll see you all tomorrow, and how are you?